we are sinning first and foremost against God. Why do I say we have to know? Because most of the sins that we do, we know them. We know when we are sinning. We know. When you are about to steal something, you can't say, no, I didn't know, this doesn't belong to me. We know. So what should be on our mind when we are sinning, it is always against God. Always against God. We can also see another example of sin against God in the issue and Mrs. Potiphar. Issue of Joseph and Mrs. Potiphar. In Genesis 39 verse 9, what did Joseph say? How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? So I thought, if as men of destiny or anybody listening, if we can have that phrase in our hearts every time we are confronted with a sinful situation, why don't we raise that question? How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Every time. I mean, even if we get defeated, but let's put that in our hearts. Let's put that, because this can greatly help. Because we are going to be confronted with sin. It's not going to go out every day. We are going to be confronted with things. But why don't we put up that as our motto in our hearts? How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? We also see that sin can be against other people. We might think it's not. Sin is against other people. Again, we see that in the same text, verse number 21. It says, "And in your sight I have sinned against heaven," which we just talked about, "and in your sight." So he's recognizing that he also sinned against his Father. So there are situations, or every situation, that we have to know that when we sin, we also sin against other people. We sin against other people. There are many examples that we can give when we sin against other people. You can sin against your family. You could be getting up every morning. Your kids, your wife know that you are going to wake, but you are going to do other things. But believe me, they are going to know about those things. They are not going to stay secret. And they are going to affect your family when they come to be seen. They will know about that, and it will be embarrassing. Dad, this is what you were going to do. You said you were going to wake every morning, but look, your children it will affect everybody. Sin can be against other people. You could be working probably in a hospital, and every time you get off, you steal medication. You steal that, and then they run out because someone has been stealing. There comes a patient who needed that medication. They are turned away. Maybe not here in America, it doesn't happen, but I'm telling you, in some of the countries, these things happen. They run out of medication. They turn them away. They go back in pain. Some of them go and die. You don't know them, but you stole the medication. Look at that. You are sinning against other people. So we should know that. That's the thing. The third thing that we should know is we can sin against ourselves. We can sin against ourselves. And the prodigal son also mentions it. He said, "I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." I'm no longer worthy. So that tells us sin can be against other people. But what is the good news? We have sinned, we have done all these things, we are good for nothing, and we are being told, get out of here, you are a sinner and all that. No, but God, there is good news. We can never out-sin God. This guy went far away. as we are told in the text. But there can never be sin which can be too far from God. So we can always come back to God. We can never out-sin God. We can never out-sin God. And God sees all we need is for us to make a decision to go back to the Father. To go back to the Father. But even as we go back to the Father, we also need to make good of our earthly fathers. We cannot go to the Father when we still have issues with our biological fathers. We cannot go back to God before we make good with our spiritual fathers, before we make good with our earthly fathers, our father figures. So we need to make sure that before we return, because even if we do, God is going to ask us, you are coming to me, but look at the mess you have with your own father. So you need to clean up that before you come back to the Father. Happy Father's Day, everybody.